Now, there are 7 things in a lot of foods that will ruin your liver. Number one, you want to avoid soy protein isolates. Here's a big question about soy protein isolates. What do you think they do to isolate this protein from soy? Well, they use chemicals. It's highly processed. They have to go through a whole series of things to extract this concentrated protein. And to do that, they have to use something called hexane. That's a petroleum byproduct. It's a solvent. It's not good for the liver. It's actually a neurotoxin. And so when you look at like diet shakes or diet powders or protein bars or veggie burgers, always read the label. I don't recommend consuming it if it has soy protein. All right, number 2, fructose. Okay, you have high fructose corn syrup. You have the fructose in fruit. You have something called agave nectar as a sweetener. It's like 70% fructose. And even table sugar is half fructose and half glucose. Now, fructose is a very interesting sugar because it's not metabolized by all of your cells. It's only metabolized by your liver. So anytime you consume fructose, your liver has to deal with this sugar. It is stuck to deal with breaking it down and metabolizing it. And this is why people that consume a lot of high fructose corn syrup, boy, they just develop a fatty liver, way more than if they were going to be consuming just glucose itself. And even people think that agave nectar is so healthy, but it's not, because it contains fructose. And one more point about this, especially when you're dealing with high fructose corn syrup, all that corn is GMO. And that gives you another level of toxicity like glyphosate, which is an herbicide that's not good for the liver. All right, number 3, vegetable fats. Now, vegetable fats sound so healthy, don't they? I mean, they're just the fat of vegetables. Well, there's actually not much fat in vegetables, okay? If you look at salad, leafy greens, just look at the nutritional profile and you'll see that there's not much oil or fat in vegetables. So despite being called vegetable oils, it's really grain oils, and it's like bean oils, as in soybean oil. And I'm talking about the corn oil, the soy oil, canola, cottonseed oil. These oils are very processed. They're very oxidating to your tissues, which means they create a lot of inflammation, a lot of inflammation. What you want to do is you want to consume a lot more omega-3 fatty acids, sardines, cod liver oil, salmon, things like that. All right, number 4, whey protein powder. Now think about what whey protein powder is. It's a protein in milk and dairy, and it's highly concentrated to be extremely low fat, if not zero fat, okay? And anytime you consume something that's refined out of the normal complex that nature has designed, it comes with a package. And so whey protein is inflammatory. It's a bit toxic to the liver. It increases inflammatory markers. So when you consume protein, make sure you consume it with the fat that's nature has packaged that protein with. But maltodextrin, which is number 5, is in so many foods. It's crazy. It's in all the protein powders as the first ingredient sometimes. Here's the problem with maltodextrin. It's a synthesized or synthetic sugar, and it is higher than glucose on the glycemic index, okay? It ranges between 110 to 100 and I think 19. It's just off the scale. Basically, it makes your liver fattier. All right, number 6, aflatoxins. So you want to stop consuming aflatoxins. Now, what is an aflatoxin? Well, it's a toxin from a certain fungus, which is carcinogenic to your liver. So your liver does not like this. And you're primarily going to find it in peanuts and corn, okay? And especially if it's in a moist human environment. And number 7, okay, is MSG, monosodium glutamate. It's in a lot of different forms, including modified food starch, but you really want to start reading the ingredients because they put this in pork rinds. It's in so many foods as a flavor enhancer. They use it in all the fast food restaurants to enhance the flavor, because if it wasn't in there, you wouldn't eat as much. But that's not the big problem. The big problem is toxic to your liver. Now, what about red meat? Is red meat bad for the liver? Well, the answer is if you're consuming grass-fed red meat, it's not bad for the liver unless you have a problem with iron, okay? The thing about iron is that our bodies are not designed to get rid of iron easily. And too much iron can be very toxic to the liver and even cause cirrhosis. And of course, red meat is high in iron. If you have that problem, then you're probably going to have to avoid red meat. But for most people that don't have a problem with that, red meat is not going to be a problem for your liver if it's quality. Out of all the foods that are good for the liver, the cruciferous family of vegetables are the best thing for the liver. So that would be like arugula, the kale, the broccoli, the Brussels sprouts. So you definitely want to consume those on a regular basis.